You've done it before. You've looked at someone and felt something sharp rise in you. Irritation, contempt, admiration you couldn't explain. You told yourself it was about them, their arrogance, their weakness, the way they take up space without apology, or the way they shrink from everything that requires courage. But here is what you didn't ask. Why them? Why that specific quality? Why does it land in you like a splinter when it passes through other people, without leaving a mark? Carl Jung had a name for what you were doing. He called it projection, and it is one of the most quietly destructive forces in human psychology. Not because it is rare, but because it is constant, because it never announces itself. It simply arrives dressed as perception. Projection is the act of taking something that lives inside you, something unacceptable, something buried, something you have refused to look at directly, and placing it onto someone else. The mind does this not out of malice, but out of necessity. There are parts of yourself that your conscious identity cannot afford to hold, so it exiles them, pushes them below the surface into what Jung called the shadow, the hidden architecture of everything you have disowned about yourself, and then it finds those qualities in other people. The man who cannot tolerate his own ambition sees opportunists everywhere. The woman who has buried her anger behind a lifetime of accommodation finds herself surrounded by aggressive people. The person who has never allowed themselves to be vulnerable is exhausted by what they call the neediness of others. They are not wrong that these qualities exist in the people around them. Projection is not hallucination. It is a searchlight. It finds the real and then magnifies it beyond proportion. Because it is not just seeing, it is recognizing. Something in the other person has activated something in you that has nowhere else to go. This is why the qualities that disturb you most in others are worth sitting with. Not to excuse what you see, but to ask what in you needed to see it so badly. Jung believed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Projection is one of the primary ways this happens. You move through the world believing you are responding to people, when you are largely responding to yourself, to the parts of yourself that never received enough light to be integrated. The most confronting version of this truth is not that you project your darkness onto others. It is that you project your light as well. The qualities you most admire, the fearlessness, the authenticity, the ease, these are often just as disowned as the traits that repel you. You have exiled your own greatness just as efficiently as your shame. Withdrawal of projection is not comfortable work. It requires you to look at the person who disturbs you and ask, "Where do I know this from the inside?" It requires you to look at the person you idealize and ask, "What in me am I refusing to claim?" But this is the only direction that leads somewhere real. Because as long as the shadow stays outside of you, housed in the people you resent, the people you worship, the people you cannot stop thinking about, you remain divided, reacting, never quite free. The person who unsettles you most is not your enemy. They are a mirror, and the question is never really about them. It was always about what you are not yet willing to see in yourself.